So welcome back, guys. In this video I want to go over a couple things, but the main thing I want to go over is my plans going into the summer and setting myself up to get shredded pretty much. And I'm gonna be losing a little bit of weight, but it's really what I do to get myself ready to go into a deficit pretty much, right? My plans are to get shredded for the summer and cut down in body fat. And to do that, you need the same idea, calories in, calories out, but I'm gonna be going into a deficit. I've been in a surplus for maybe 2 months, max surplus that I was happy with, and I put on some good quality muscle tissue. I've gained some good reasonable amount of weight. I didn't dirty bulk. I kept it moderately. I didn't really even change my diet too much. I pretty much just I just increased the portion of what I was eating by a little bit more. A big one is I started snacking more. I had a little bit more snacks, which would help me reach those higher calories, and I gave myself a little bit more freedom. I added cereal back into my diet. I didn't go crazy. I didn't even go into liquid calories. I still just kept it whole food source. So I'm gonna slowly decrease my calories and back to maintenance, and then I'm gonna again take it from there, and then slowly go under maintenance into a deficit. And then with that, I'm gonna increase my cardio to doing my fasted runs in the morning, not too intense right off the bat, so I don't become too flat, and I'm not I don't end up starving my body, you know what I'm saying? And slowly intensify my cardio, and then as things change and progress, depending on how I look, again I'll decrease, go further into my deficit, and increase my cardio a bit more. And because really you don't have to really lose weight to become ripped, you know what I'm saying? That's not really the idea behind it. But you just need calories in, good calories in, calories out, and a good balance of that. And understanding your body and how certain changes can create that look for you. All right, now again, one of the other things I do is I start to decrease my calories. So I start to eat less. I'm not gonna change my food around too much, but for now I'm gonna start to lessen the portion that I'm eating. And that's just in order to go ease myself into the deficit, which is eating less and less under my maintenance calories. And I'll slowly do that. I won't just remove carbs or remove meat or something, or just eat meat and remove everything else. I'm not just gonna jump into a carnivore diet, jump into a vegan diet, jump into a vegetarian diet, or jump into no carbs, you know what I mean? That's not how you actually lose weight, ultimately. It's just removing rice or carbs, what a lot of people think is the key to losing weight or getting shredded or whatever. That's not even the case. To be honest, I'm probably not even gonna remove my carbs at all, and I'm still gonna become ripped, and you guys will find out and see how I do that. Even while I was in this bulk surplus, I still did cardio, because it's just good overall to keep your cardio in, even as you're building, to still do some fasted sessions, still do some I still do my runs, my morning runs and everything, but I just don't do them as aggressive. Or the deeper you get into your cut, obviously the higher the intensity gets for your cardio and the intensity of your deficit, right? So right now what I'm doing, or what I was doing, was I was doing like maybe 10 minutes after my workouts, I would hit the bike, and I would, you know, do a nice little like a hit workout on the bike for 10 minutes real quick, because it gets my heart rate going, gets my body you know, utilizing a lot of energy. And yeah, so I'll be doing more runs, morning runs and fasted runs as I progress into it. And I think I'm going to start out, right now I'm running maybe like twice a week. You know, I kind of slowed down on it because of the weather and things like that, and just timing. But I'm gonna start doing more fasted cardio runs, and you know, that will increase depending on, you know, what I see, you know, weekly, and the changes I see in my body. You know, I don't want to go too crazy where I'm just blasting cardio and not decreasing my food at a reasonable rate. You know, like if I blast cardio but my food, my nutrition, my food is off, and I'm not getting the right amount of food that I need, like high protein, or like my carbs is my energy source, so I could use it as fuel when I do my fasted workouts. That means like having a good meal, you know, the night before I do my morning cardio sessions, which is when I would be doing a fasted session. But making sure that, yeah, I'm not just you know, dropping out my food and not being able to utilize that as I intensify my cardio, you know what I'm saying? So yeah, it's like, it's no drastic changes like that. Never do things like drastically, you know what I'm saying? Like, unless you're a UFC fighter and you literally have to get, like, even like, that's the thing, a lot of UFC fighters, they have trouble with at the end of their weight cuts, and a lot of them end up having like kidney failure and shit like that because of how harsh of a deficit they go into, and the stress that they cause on their bodies, you know, with that drastic change and shit. Like, it's unhealthy to be in these, you know, these particular body fat percentages, you know, so quickly and for too long of a time, you know what I'm saying? You always have to have like a refeed. And yeah, that's like the idea of it, creating that balance. And that's why you slowly go into your cut. You know, you don't just cut out your carbs, you know what I mean, as people think they should do. Because, you know, to be honest, when you just cut out your carbs like that, your energy source that your body was utilizing for energy, you know, your body, you know, again, it starts pulling nutrients from your bones in places it shouldn't be. And you know, to be honest, your body is gonna start storing things to replace that, you know. So probably that's a lot of times how people, you know, see the scale go down, maybe because you're eating less, but are still fat, you know what I mean? Not building any muscle, you know, your body's using that muscle and burning through that muscle because you removed its energy source through nutrition, and you know, that's how you end up being like skinny fat, you know what I mean? And that's like, you know, not good to have no muscle, you know, sacrifice your muscle for fat, you know, fat storage. You know, your body starts storing fat, you know, because it needs something to regenerate cells and shit. It needs that good LDL to repair damaged tissues and shit like that. And we could get into this, like, I could go into this forever, you know what I mean? When it comes to people making that decision when they just like drop their carbs drastically, you know, and just go into like a vegan diet just like that, and their body's never been in that position before, you know what I mean? So take your time with things, and yeah, slowly go into things So the main thing is that what I do now with the information I have, trial and error, you know, you learn from, you know, the previous times you cut up until, you know, keep progressing and shit. So this time around, I'm very happy with how my body turned out this previous cut. And so with all the things that I learned from that cut, I take into this one. And one of the things that I started doing more is going and, you know, talking to my doctor, you know, talking with my doctor. I have more information on certain things that are good to, you know, ask your doctor about before you know, get into, you know, supplementing, getting to, taking certain things when it comes to trying to cut, and just sharing that information with them so they know, you know, because they're the ones, you're monitoring your body, and they're the ones, you know, giving you information on, you know, what things look like, you know, and more in depth of what things look like, because they're the ones running the test for you. So one of the big things I do is I go and get my blood work, you know, and this way I could have a start and a finish. Now, I know a lot of people are not going to go that far, but it's like, this is just what I do because I'm just willing to be that detailed and, like, you know, meticulous with what I'm doing, you know. It just sets me up for a better outcome with what I'm trying to achieve, you know. So I hit my doctor about 2 weeks ago, and he just hit me back today, and I let him know what my plans were. I told him that I'm gonna start supplementing again, because I haven't supplemented for like four or 5 years. I haven't supplemented. I haven't had proteins, I haven't had creatines, I haven't had pre-workouts, none of that. Everything that I've had within the last 4 or 5 years has been whole food sourced, you know, beetroot juice as a pre-workout, you know, lots of spinach, and then chicken for my protein. And I feel amazing. I feel really good. My last cut, I went savage, man. I depleted myself for like maybe too long of a duration, you know, and everything turned out really good. But now this time around, you know, trying to nail keeping more size, you know, shredding a lot of the fat, but not like losing the size, which is every man's fucking wet dream, man. Like, everybody wants to be big, but nice and shredded and tight, you know what I mean? So that's the type of physique like I want to achieve and shit. Still, I'm not looking to be like bodybuilder-ish. I want to be like really athletic as well. So yeah, I let my doctor know that I was thinking about going back on pre-workouts and you know, the creatine and a protein, right? So this time around, thinking of taking like vegan protein, you know, something more clean, because again, I'm like not really trying to dirty it up, you know. I like where I'm at physique wise. My health is really good, you know, from my last blood work results and everything. So yeah, the reason I do this, I want to make this clear, and sorry if I'm all over the place, but getting my blood work done is, it's a marker, so I could see, you know, it's a start, and it's a marker for the start and finish of, you know, what I'm doing. So I'm going to get those results, and I could see where everything's at, and then at the end of my cut, get my blood work and then match them up, and I could see, you know, what fluctuated, and then again I have that information for the next time, you know what I mean, and see what things worked, what things elevated, what changes my body, like truthfully what changes my body made. Because a lot of people take on certain diet practices, they go vegan, they go carnivore, they go vegetarian, and they really, you know, when you do those kind of things, like, yeah, maybe your body, maybe you'll feel good from it, like, you know, oh, I've been on this vegetarian diet and oh, I feel amazing, like way healthier and shit like that. Oh, my acne's gone away or some whatever, right? And that's good, you know what I mean? Because it's like giving your body a break. But the thing is, like some of those diet practices for long term are, you know, they're not always optimal, you know. Especially if you don't know what's going on in your body, you know, fully internally. You know, one of the first indications is going to be like, you know, how you feel, of course, right? You feel good, but again, like, you know, looking into your blood work is going to reveal like the most detailed perspective on what changes your body actually made, right? So I think it's good for, you know, following up on. I think people don't really follow up on it a lot. I think when a lot of times young people, you know, they go to their doctor, and the doctor sometimes, I've heard a lot of times, you know, people I know, they go to their doctor about something, and you know, the doctor's kind of like, oh, you're young, you know, or like, you know, some of the testing that they do, if you don't ask for a specific type of blood work as well, they're just gonna give you a test that's like a marker of like the average person your age, you know what I mean? And some people like me don't fit those markers, right? So I had an experience where, you know, I was shown results based on a marker that was like an old test of like the average male, you know, young male, healthy male, and I didn't fit that marker, you know. So certain things on my blood work test, like my creatinine levels, were way off, like way off from the test, the normal margin that they should be, because I don't fit that category, you know. I don't fit the normal person because my activity is way different than the average person, you know. I work out with way more intensity. I have way more muscle on my frame than the average person, you know what I mean? So I went and saw a specialist, and they revealed to me that the test that I got was, you know, old test based on old markers and margins. So that could happen to a lot of people, you know, where your doctor gives you like an old test and stuff, and maybe you don't fit that margin. Maybe you know, again, like your doctor doesn't, if you don't tell him, like he doesn't know exactly the type of shit you do. Like, you know, my doctor didn't know exactly how into fitness I was, you know, because I have like a newer doctor, but like, you know, after when he actually saw me in person, he saw like, oh shit, like, you know, like you have a lot of like muscle mass on you and shit like that. Like the test I gave you, you know, is not, you know, it doesn't work. It's definitely not gonna work for you and give you the answers you want. So yeah, that's one thing to keep in mind when you're taking on these like different diets and shit like that. You want to be mindful of you know, the certain tests that the certain things that you're removing from your diet that create that balance, right? Like, you know, anything that your body's like functioning off of like for a long time, and you just remove it, your body's gonna respond, like, you know, because, you know, it's, you know, you been eating meat or for like a long amount of time, and then you all of a sudden just cut it out, you know, your body's gonna, you know, respond and like, you know, freak out, like, you know, it's gonna set off switch alerts in your brain, you know, that it's gonna like be like, what the hell, like that I was using that to rebuild cells and regenerate cells and shit like that, and you just took it away because you're on this vegan diet, and now you're eating like beans and stuff that, you know, don't provide the same amount of protein consumption as the chicken and the meat would and shit, and then your body's just like freaking out, and it starts pulling you know, things from other places that you don't want, you know. And you can feel good because, you know, there's benefits to it, but if you don't have like a start and a finish, you know, you know, that type of balance, before you take on these things, like it could end up in long term, it could be like hella negative, you know. It could turn into a really bad thing for you. So for me personally, I go and get my blood work before and see where I'm at, and I get certain type of tests, and I could see, like, again, where my test is at, you know, my creatinine levels, that's like a important one for me, you know, my kidney functions, like how that's going. I do things like that before, and then this time around I'll be able to check in after I finish my cut, and then full on see how my body, what changes internally it made, you know, because there's gonna be changes on the outside, you know. I'm gonna be depleted, I'm gonna be dried out a bit, I'm gonna be more ripped, vascular and everything, my face is gonna be skeletal and shit like that. And yeah, it's good, it's, you know, I'm gonna look impressive and stuff like that, hopefully. But again, you want to be keep in mind about what's going on with you internally as well before going into a cut or going into like a, you know, a bulk. You know, if I was going into a bulk or increasing something or beginning to take some type of supplementary thing, depending on what it is, you know, I would tell my doctor, like, you know, give him the information so that he can, you know, tell me, like, give me a perspective, you know, professional advice on that specific thing. But if you're, you know, you're not really, your doctor really doesn't know, like, in a little bit more detail, you know, what you're doing, then, you know, he can't really help you, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know, a lot of people kind of keep things from, I guess, their doctors, and, you know, that's all just, they can't help you, you know, if they don't know what's going on with you, other than the fact that, you know, I don't know, you're coming in with like some obscure, like, results and shit like that, you know what I mean? And you're just saying like, oh, I don't do anything, blah blah blah, you know, but your diet and shit is like shit, you know, but you believe it's good because, you know, you're vegetarian or you're on a carnivore diet and shit. And like, those things don't always work for everybody, you know. There's some people, like this girl I know, she's been vegan since she was young, you know, and her body adapted to it, and she's been able to sustain that, and she's really healthy and athletic, and you know, still looks good, building muscle and shit like that, and has an athletic physique and everything, you know, doing really well and looks healthy, you know, is aging well and everything, you know. So yeah, that was like, you know, something that she did since young, you know. But some people, like, you know, randomly, impulsively just like, oh, now I need to lose weight, so I'm gonna like become a vegan and shit. And, you know, again, you remove something, you might feel less bloated because of maybe like a lot of the glycogen storage or something like that from the meat. The easier it is to digest, you know, just plant-based foods and stuff like that. But again, like nutrient-wise and regenerating cells and shit like that, it's based on a balance of things, and you never want to just drastically change something right away. You want to slowly ease into them, you know, day by day, you know. Maybe I'll start by eating less meat and shit, and then maybe after that I'll just eat fish for a bit, and then after that, you know, I'll slowly go into more vegan options, and, you know, check how I feel, you know, see where my blood work's at, blah blah blah, you know. I think that's like a better way to go into taking on these like diet models and practices and shit, rather than just you know, like a lot of people that I hear who become like, you know, these, you know, take on these specific diet models, you know what I'm saying? They just like, oh no, no, I cut out meat, you know, blah blah blah. And it's like they look the same, you know what I'm saying? And the biggest thing is like they cut out, you know, they believe they're getting their nutrition in check, but their training is not even in check. You know what I mean? So it's like you need that balance. You know, your training and recovery's not in check, but you know, or you think your diet is gonna power everything. You know, it's just, you know, that's a heavy part. But all these things simultaneously, you know, function off each other. You know what I'm saying? Like so. Yeah, I think that's it. That's pretty much it. And all I want to say for my preparation going into, you know, the summer and what I do to, you know, get prepared to go into like a cut and things I pay attention to. If you guys have any questions, let me know in the comments. I think I kind of covered everything in terms of preparation that I do going into my diet. So yeah, thanks for watching. Thanks for watching the video, and peace.